So as a club guy, much like a doctor and the worst patient, is a club fitter the worst guy to get fit? Let's find out. Thank you for visiting the McGolf Shop. Jim McCleary, most awarded certified club maker, club fitter. And then we see we got a little something new going on back here. So is the club fitter like the worst guy to get fit? Just like a doctor is kind of the worst patient setup. And we're going to find that out. So that's a question. As I've been doing a lot of these videos on testing of equipment, testing of shafts, and we talk about grips, that kind of stuff, I've been watching my own data and seeing which clubs have been working for me. And as the year has already progressed, here we are into the 4th month, and starting from the very last day of the last year, which was my anniversary, Mrs. McGolf bought me some irons that I told her I thought I would like to have. And this is what they are. The new level 1102. As you've seen, I did a review over here. The 1102 is obviously it's a left-handed model, and it is a club that has a very large cavity in it, again from a forgiving on off-center hits, and it has what I would call a low-medium offset on it. And it's a forged club, to be sure, and it feels really well. It tested very well for me. And along with the other components that I'm going to be using, it turned out to be one heck of a combination, so that's what we're going to do. Now, the unfortunate part about this is that it only goes to the pitching wedge. I really like to see clubs go to the A wedge because they're just getting so strong now, right? And when you're hitting wedges are, in my opinion, they're basically really big blades. And even on big blades, if you're even off a little bit, you're going to pay for it. So why not have an A wedge going down to that area? Because most people don't hit it a ton. We need an A wedge. However, this is what we got, so you're going to see some wedges coming, and we'll talk about building those. So what I want to do is talk about, I want to make these mine. I want to customize them. So we're going to be customizing a little bit. I'm not changing the color, but as Eric has already done for me, if you can see in there, 36. Number of years been married to Mrs. McGolf. So we're going to add a little more McGolf flair to it. So this could be a how to customize your irons, how to make a stamping. You know, Anthony over at Callaway, I'm going to say his name wrong, Tarantetto. Anthony over there is probably one of the best on the planet at doing this. His setup is basically number one. However, we don't have that setup, so we're going to do it the manual way. So let's figure out, so what are we going to do? Being McGolf, and we started off with the clover, and Mr. McGolf started with me, I went out and I got a punch that is, let's see if you can see it. This is a 4-leaf clover, all right? And I've already stamped a couple just to see, and it's been a while now since I've done it, since we did all this cleaning. And we're going to stamp this guy, and we're going to put a mark right in there. All right, and then we'll talk about paint fills and all that kind of stuff. So how do we do this? Where do I do something like that in here? Well, I do it on the vise. All right, vise is probably one of the most important pieces of equipment that you can have in the shop. It does so many different things, and this is going to be one of them. So here's what we're going to do. All right, so what we've done is we're making this piece available to work on. All right, got to make sure it's nice and clean, or at least crap free. And then we're going to lay this guy on here, and then we're going to do some punching. But I don't want it to slide, so a little clubmaker's trick, some double face tape. Get it on there nice and flat. And now it's not going to move. So I'm going to move you in a little bit there, and then we'll see what we need to do in making a punch. Alrighty, so number one is you got to get the locator. So this one the clover has a little stem on it, so we know that we want that on the bottom, and I want it to be facing downward. Now you can get creative and turn it which way you want, and you want to find out a good place for it to fit. I think right in there is probably going to be a good spot. And then when you go to hit it, you want to hit it with something that's got a lot of weight behind it, because this is a one and done kind of thing. You can always try and overlap it, but you get the dreaded double hit, and that's not what we want. So You want to get it in here, and you got to be supremely confident in your talent to be able to get this to work. All right, so now there it is, nice and flat. And there it is. Let's take it off here and see if I can't show you how to make this go. See it over there on the left-hand side? Nice and clear. It's not as deep as I would pretty much like it, but you get all the detail in the clover, and that's what we're looking for. And it kind of gives us an idea. It seems a little bit high, so we're going to, on the next one, we're going to push it down a little bit lower and see if we can't make it a little deeper. So let's go back and try another one. Okay, the 6-iron. Get it nice and flat again. Find the bottom of the thing. Let's try and move it down a little bit. Nice and flat. Get your center. That's better. We're getting better. Now this is just like one of those tasks that you can do where you get better the more you do it. And there it is again. See, it's getting clear. You even get to see the little lines inside the leaves. Let's do one more. That one was in a pretty good place. Now the one thing you got to keep in mind is, you notice how it's a one whack and you're done. Am I hitting it hard? Yeah, but I'm not killing it. And that's one of the things you got to be worried about. Everybody's, oh, I'm going to hit my fingers, I'm going to do this. And I have done that before, and that was when I was trying too hard and had too light of a hammer. This is what I call a little mini sledge. It's I'm not even sure how heavy. I think it's about an 8-pounder maybe, and it's basically made to do this kind of stuff. That was a good one. Oh yeah, that's when you get it and you know you just know you're going to hit it right. There we go. See that guy right there? Boy, that turned out really, 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 really well. I'm just real happy with that one. All right, so that's how you get that going on. I mean, it turned out pretty good. I got to clean up the inside because these have been sitting there for a while. But if you can see, I mean, it's a neat little symbol. And I'm just thinking about whether or not I want to paint fill that or not. And in this particular instance, I don't think I'm going to, because I think it looks more classic without paint fill. Because I've got too much paint fill stuff going on here, it'll just be fighting for attention. And I think by its lonesome, it'll be fine. And when I go to get my wedges, we're going to have a few more things to do in the wedges, and then we'll paint fill in that one. But if you wanted to, it's just a little bit of paint on there. Typically, you just wipe it off with a paper towel, and when you get it filled and you're done, some will let it dry, and then you just wipe it off with a little bit of acetone. But I think what happens is you run the risk of removing it and have to do it all again. If you just do it while it's wet, then you're done. And then you have to go back and clean it up a little bit more. But all in all, I think that's how you get stamping done. Now, if you don't have the supreme confidence in doing that, and it's definitely one of those things that takes practice. All right, so go get you a throwaway golf club, wedge, and practice writing your name, writing up a saying, put it up, fill the whole back of that thing up. I mean, that's what I did. And I not only one, but I did 3 or 4 of them, and I just filled the things up and I painted them, and in order to get your technique down. And it's only just one club if you really want to do it. If you're really, if you're looking for, if you're going to keep doing this for quite a bit, then that's something you want to do. Now, let's just say, for sake of argument, you are just not that person, but you really want to give this a go. Well, there is other ways of doing it. They do make jigs and holders to hold these things in place that you can slam down and get them. They also make, and thank you to Eric for this one, and this Eric Birch of the new level, at a Harbor Freight, they have a press, right? They have it's a small press. I believe it's like 150, 180 bucks. And this is a small press. And when you get your club on a block, just like we did here, and you just keep clicking it down, clicking it down, clicking it down, clicking it down, with that guy right where you want it, and press, 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 until you get it, and it just mashes its way in and makes it nice and clean. Let her go, pull it back out, and you're done. Right? It's very much more friendly from a don't smash your finger point of view. Just going to have more involved, and you're going to have to take your press and put it somewhere either out of the way when you're done, or if you're going to be doing it quite a bit, then find a good space for it. But that, there's all kinds of ways to pull that off. That's just one of the most basic ways. Honestly, I learned that in a tour trailer, and I brought it back home with me and I started practicing. So that's the way that one goes. Therein lies the how to customize your golf clubs. In the next segment of We're Building Jim's Golf Clubs, let's call it that. We're building Jim's golf clubs, or we're building McGolf's golf clubs. And in the next segment, we're going to be talking about the shaft and how it's going to fit in, because it's not going to be your normal fit. Of course, they're mine. And let's see that, and let's see your scores go low.